Hello, everyone, and welcome to our program on Local Government Week in Missouri. Governor Nixon has proclaimed the week of April 30th through May 4th as Local Government Week, and we have with us to discuss Local Government Week three folks who know a lot about local governments. We have with us Dan Ross, who's Executive Director of the Missouri Municipal League. Dick Burke is Executive Director of the Missouri Association of Counties, and Carter Ward is Executive Director of the Missouri School Boards Association. And gentlemen, thanks a lot for being with us.
Thank you.
And Dan Ross, let's start with you. Why are we observing Local Government Week in Missouri?
Well, this is our effort to raise awareness of the many fine things local government provides for citizens in the state. It's also an opportunity to recognize the many great workers, either appointed or elected, that provide services through local government. And we're also encouraging citizen involvement in local government through this effort. And finally, it's part of this is an effort to kind of beat down the stereotype of government workers and government work that from the paintbrush we get painted with a broad paintbrush that maybe is aimed at Washington. And so we want to dispel those rumors.
And Dick Burke, you represent counties, and give us some examples of how county government affects people's daily lives.
Well, county government is probably an invisible form of government to most folks. They don't really understand what it is the counties do, and the counties provide, or extension of the state, number one, so we provide a wide array of services. If you go to vote, you're participating in the county. When you pay your property taxes, you have direct involvement with the county. Certainly through the courts, law enforcement, anytime you get a marriage license, that's all county functions. So as Dan said, we're happy to try to raise awareness because I don't think people in general understand the wide variety of services that counties provide.
And Carter, in the world of education, we have lots of different governmental entities that have influence over how our public schools are run, but really where the rubber meets the road is the local school board, isn't it?
Absolutely. The local school board is the policy-making body for the schools in those communities. And clearly they need to be very cognizant, aware, and have strong relationships with counties and municipalities if in fact we're going to come up with the best local policy for providing educational opportunities for the children, all of our kids that live in those communities.
Mm-hmm. Dan, from the city standpoint, what are some of the examples you can cite of how city government affects people's lives?
Well, we like to say city government and local government in general helps people from cradle to grave and maybe even before the cradle with health screenings, eye exams, hearing exams and the like, educational opportunities. We provide programs for children and youth and adults as well all through their lives and providing a safe, healthy environment is what local government does.
Mm-hmm. And Dick, Carter was mentioning the relationship among our local governments, and collaboration is very important, isn't it? I mean, we have issues that overlap, city governments, county governments, and local education, and it's important that we work together, isn't it?
Absolutely, and I think probably we can look back, it's been almost a year since the Joplin tornado, and I would think that would be a real good example of when the county and the city and the school, certainly with what happened down in Joplin, all had to work together. Emergency preparedness and emergency management is huge at the local level. And that's those folks that provide those services. Even though FEMA and SEMA obviously come in, it's the people on the ground first, the first responders, who are all local government folks. So I think that's a real important point.
And Carter, that's certainly something we encourage with local school boards too, is to reach out to the other local governmental entities in their communities to collaborate on children's issues, for example.
Yes, absolutely. We are always interested in bringing in, perspective so that we can make the best policy decisions relative to not only the educational issues, which are obvious, but also just the whole issue of safety and security. The Center for Education Safety initiative of the Missouri School Boards Association is all about reaching out to the constituents of city and county government in terms of sheriffs and municipalities, and sheriffs and city police and other law enforcement providers. And so the more that we can function as a community, the stronger we can make the infrastructure that supports that community, the more we're doing for those people who live, reside, and enjoy the benefits of living in whatever community they have chosen to live in.
Dan, you were mentioning earlier the stereotypes some people have of governmental entities and maybe even governmental employees. And this Local Government Week is really, as you said, a chance to showcase the good work that our both elected and employees, elected officials and employees do, and really to kind of counter the cynicism that some people have about government, because it's local governments really get the job done for people, don't they?
Well, they certainly do. Local government has stepped up in times of reduced revenues, and with these reduced revenues come reduction in force, and the old adage about doing more with less is some faulty thinking. You have to do less with less, and I think our crumbling infrastructure is part of that. But every day, local government delivers the products and services that citizens demand, and those citizens are demanding increasing products and services even in these tight fiscal times. So I think it's really important to get the word out about the local government is your friends and your neighbors doing the very best they can with very limited resources.
And Dick, local government really gives citizens the opportunity to have direct engagement and direct input on the issues that affect people's lives, doesn't it?
Absolutely, and certainly at the county level, the counties assess and collect property tax. There's an appeals process at the local level if someone wants to challenge their property tax, so there's direct involvement with their local county in that regard, and so there's a number of other ways that can be done.
Mm-hmm. And that's true of school boards as well, Carter. We like to say school boards are the link really between the community and the professional educators, and so school boards provide for that mechanism to allow for public engagement, don't they?
They absolutely, Brent. They are truly the bridge between what goes on in the schoolhouse to that community. We have school board members are locally elected. It's not partisan politics, but it's certainly politics from the standpoint you have to put your name on a ballot and be elected. But people who serve on school boards are heavily engaged in those communities. They're housewives to bankers, lawyers, every profession out there is represented on the local school board, because it's a community effort. It's not a effort that is strictly driven by the professional educators in and of themselves. There's governmental oversight, community oversight of those programs.
Mm-hmm. And Dan, city government obviously provides some opportunities for citizen involvement as well. Service as an elected official, or perhaps on committees or task forces, all kinds of opportunities like that, aren't there?
Well, municipal government is very open, very accessible. It's hometown government. It's your friends and neighbors, and there are innumerable opportunities to engage, to provide support or join in the leadership of government, and you can join and participate to the level of your patience or your interest, and you're helping your fellow citizens and creating that healthy, safe environment.
And that's true of county government too, isn't it, Dick?
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think at the local level, people feel our local officials are more accountable. I think that's really what it's about, certainly at the county level. And there's no place to hide at home. I mean, when folks come to go to Jefferson City or to Washington, they're a little bit insulated, but there's no place to hide. They're going to find you in the coffee shop, and I hear that from county officials all the time. So they're expected to perform, and if they don't perform, they're going to be held accountable, and people expect that, and they should. They absolutely should.
All right, Dan Ross, Dick Burke, Carter Ward, thanks very much for being with us and having our discussion on Local Government Week in Missouri.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Brent.